Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome to our huge 50th episode for Found Footage Fridays with my co-host, Tom Reimer.
I'm actually shocked we don't have fireworks or something right now. We're only a few days away from the 4th of July, and you haven't got us some fireworks for this 50th celebration? Come on, Angel.
Yeah, no fireworks. I did go up a little and got VHS earrings, though, for the occasion.
I've got my Mardi Gras bead. That's the best I could do.
I love it. I love it. So we are so pumped about this episode. We've been talking amongst ourselves for weeks getting ready for this.
Yeah, it's about a year, right? A year ago.
Almost.
We're started really close. This entire thing, I think.
Yeah, it's about a year. And it kind of got started because I wanted to do a live 2 years ago on found footage, and you were a part of that. Yep. And I knew that it was something you had a lot of love for. So I was like, I really would love to do like a reoccurring something with found footage, and Found Footage Fridays was born.
Here we are. And the rest is history.
That's right. 50. I can't believe it. So we got a couple of people that have already stopped in and said hello. Hello, how is everyone doing? Just want to jump in.
Everybody.
Hi, Tatum. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, and then, of course, it is I, #1 fan of Found Footage Fridays. Let the celebration begin. It's only official if Ron's here, right?
For anyone who's watched any of our episodes, I think Ron has seen more of them probably than anybody out there. So he's an unofficial third host of the show.
That's right. He's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Welcome, Ron.
Ron says, "Bet you can't wait to start talking about Creep." I'm so.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I know Angel can't either.
Yeah, Angel's excited. Hey, what's up, Rick? Thanks. Happy 50th to us. We are so excited. Michael. Oh, hi, Michael. It begins. Yes, we are very I'm telling y'all, when it came to planning this, we were so excited.
Yeah.
The View with Drew. Hey, what's up? Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah. So we did polls to pick the movies, right?
Yep.
We were trying to do some more mainstream ones because we cover, stuff that's mainstream, stuff that's not mainstream. And so we wanted to kind of go towards some of that. So we did some polls. And what were the movies we ended up with?
We ended up with Creep and Lake Mungo. Both very well known.
Yes.
I would refer to them as mainstream found footage films. Everybody knows those two movies, even if you don't know a ton of other found footage films.
Yeah, you're totally right. And I think it's interesting because there were some on these polls that I was so sure we're going to get into final brackets.
What did you really want to make this episode? I think
Ganjian,
which we have interestingly never done an episode on. It's one of my personal favorites, but
it's one of my personal. I think it's the scariest.
It is. It's definitely one of the top 3 scariest that I can think of. But yeah, it for some reason didn't quite get the votes. I don't know if it wasn't quite as recognizable for some people.
Maybe.
Everyone knows Lake Mungo.
And Creep.
So yeah, so this will be fun. This will be interesting.
Yeah. So we're going to do our normal format. We're going to start out with our introduction is about the movie we're talking about.
Yep.
A brief synopsis, no spoilers. Yep. And then we're going to do spoilers. The second half we'll do Lake Mungo the exact same way. And then we've got some stuff to give away.
We definitely do. So I guess we get started talking about this movie. So the first movie we're going to talk about is Creep, which came out in 2014. Bam. You missed it.
I did. I was listening to what you were saying.
It's right there. You can actually see it on the live episode. So
yeah, it's cool. It was not fun trying to figure out the sizing for these images, but I think I nailed it.
And Creep, do you have a synopsis for this?
I do. I do. A young videographer answers an online ad for a one-day job in a remote town for the last messages of a dying man. When he notices the man's odd behavior, he starts to question his intentions.
Okay. Yeah, and so this is probably one of the, other than some of the classics, when I really started diving into found footage, a couple of years ago, again, this is one of the first I got to, because it's one of the most accessible movies out there. It's all over the place. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I personally really love this movie. We all know, anybody who's watched our show know Angel doesn't like Creep. And I think we've identified, we talk a lot about sub genres of found footage on the show. Oh, should I not mention those?
Don't do that.
I won't mention it, but we've classified this as a very specific genre of found footage film, which we'll probably mention later on.
Yeah.
And this movie stars Mark Duplass, which I think I've said before. Yeah. If there was anybody out there in the found footage universe winning an Oscar for their performance, I feel like it would be him in this movie. And I know that like eats you alive from the inside.
I'm handling it. I'm handling it just fine.
What is it about this movie that do you even want to say yet? What is it about this movie that you can't?
I don't know.
It doesn't make it work for you.
It's weird because like I watched it because Philip DeFranco, who was a YouTuber. I don't even know if he still does YouTube anymore. He like raved about this movie, like talked about it so much. And this was way before I was doing any of this. And I was like, oh, you know, like, well, he's not steered me wrong with movies. So I went and watched it. I don't know. Maybe honestly, maybe it was just overhyped. But to me, it was just, I mean, it definitely hits weird, but for me, it never got like unsettling or engaged. Like I wasn't necessarily engaged. I just kind of kept waiting to be engaged and I never was. And then it got to like, you know, and I know we'll touch on some of this in a minute, but like it got to some of these points in the story where I was like, what am I even watching? Which you know what, if that's what they were going for, they definitely checked all the boxes on that one.
One of the, I get like, if you were to say like this movie isn't the scariest found footage, because it's not really scary, but like, as far as like unsettling, like that guy, everything that guy says is unsettling. He is just like the most unsettling character. I feel like in found footage, or one of the most unsettling. Yeah. So on our typical format, if you haven't seen the show before, we like to do our ratings first, and then we spoil the film after that. So do you want to start there? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, okay. You go first. Yep.
So my rating, and we rate on a scale of 10 videotapes, 10 VHS tapes. And so I'm going to give Creep 9 whole tapes out of 10. That is how much I like this film. It is one of my top found footage films.
Yes. Which we talk about in our intro.
I have mentioned before. Yes.
Yeah. We've talked about it numerous times. It comes up a lot because it's influenced other found footage movies that we've covered on the show. Like,
yes, there are others. That we've done full episodes on that we would classify in a similar sub genre. So actually, yeah. So that I would give it 9 tapes out of 10 without blinking.
Yeah, and until today, Tom doesn't know what my rating for Creep is, because I've never said on the channel. I've never covered it in any way, shape, or form.
But I can guess.
Yeah. Not 9. Spoiler alert. Yeah. So I was not being
0. No.
Yeah. Right. 0 out of 10 tapes. No, I genuinely was not bemused with this film like a lot of people were. It just was not one that I liked. And it may very well have nothing, like, I don't even know that I would say I didn't find them believable, because I don't know that that's true either. There's some questionable things of like, why are we still there? And before it gets to the crazy stuff, and there's things like that, but I never got invested in anything that was going on. And it just felt really forced for me. And it didn't unsettle me or make me uncomfortable at all, other than it being weird. So for that, it gets a 2.5 tapes.
Brutal. Okay, what is everybody else saying about this?
Okay.
They must all agree with me, I'm sure.
Oh, no. I'm just ignoring those comments. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, hi, Hughes. Hi. 50th episode. Yep, so excited. He is part of he's one of the many people that gives me that stupid GIF, you know, the one with
Yes,
what's his name? With
the wolf mask. Yeah,
whatever it is.
Mark
Yeah.
Duplass. Yeah.
Yeah. Creep is a guilty pleasure.
Thank you, Ricky.
I saw a found footage movie called The Possession. I love that one. That is a great
I
one.
haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, so that must be JR. JR from Horror Fiend TV. Rick is also from Horror Fiend TV.
Down.
He has a found footage show as well. It's a really unique concept about finding these scary stories like it's a real life show. It's really cool. But yes, he and I think Tasha did an episode of Michael King together, maybe. And that's a really great one. Okay. Does Apollo 18 count? Yes. I love that one. That's the one with the astronauts and the weird things on the planet or the moon or wherever they are, right? Yeah. JR said it. He just spoke. He's like, yeah, it does. Creep was decent. The sequel was a disappointment. It was supposed to be a trilogy, wasn't it?
I like the sequel. And we know it could be a trilogy with how things go in these days. So.
That's true. I didn't hate it either. I thought it was pretty good. I give Creep a 6 out of 10. That's better than a 2.5.
It's in between the two of us.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't resonate. Maybe this will be a film in the near future that I'll revisit and then give different opinions on. We'll have to see.
I sure hope so.
We'll have to see how it goes because I don't know.
So we should.
Hey,
Rob.
Sorry, I'm going to do these last two. Okay. I enjoyed the sequel of Creep. I have not seen it.
Ricky, you know. I did too. You haven't seen it? Oh, it's good. It's really good.
Of course I haven't seen it. I hated the first one.
It all goes together. You got to watch it. It's like one viewing experience.
Okay. All right.
So let's talk about this movie. We're going to give some spoilers about Creep right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to do our first giveaway or do you want to wait?
Sure. Yeah, why not? We'll take a break for a second before we spoil this, and we're going to give something away right now. Yep. So I think to start, we're planning to give away a copy, one of a couple of copies of my most recent book, Odious Schools, which is inspired by my love of found footage. Yep. See the
camera
right there on the cover. Yes. Found footage inspired. And first review of this book was by none other than Angel right there. So Odious Schools, yes, found footage, horror. And I'd like to give a copy of this away right now. So our first question is, I got to pull it up, I guess. So
yeah, so he's going to ask the question. The first person that gets it right in the chat gets the, wins the giveaway for this one.
Where is it? Here we go. Okay, what found footage film was completely improvised from beginning to end? What found footage movie was completely improvised from beginning to end?
First person that answers in the chat gets Odious Schools, which is a super fun read. Uh-oh, there we go. What happened?
You froze for a second there.
Me or you? Oh.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. I don't see it yet. I'm waiting.
Oh, no, nobody knows. There's a found footage movie out there where there was no script.
No setup, nothing. Just to be clear, like no setup, nothing set up for safety. Because the only one I've gotten so far is the Blair Witch Project, and that's not the one we're thinking of.
No.
Because there was some planning.
Although there was some improvisation in the Blair Witch Project, so that's a good guess. But no.
Not the Blair Witch Project. JR, you don't know this one? I feel like you would know this one. You try to show me all the things.
That's not a clue. That doesn't actually. I mean, I don't think it is. Nobody knows.
I will say this: it is one that is relatively common, and a lot of people do like it. This is a pretty common one. I'm trying to nobody.
I would go as far as to define this as mainstream.
It is mainstream.
Found footage.
And said, I was going to say JR has to know. I'm really surprised JR hasn't answered, actually, because I feel like he does know.
If no one gets this, we will ask another question.
Yeah, we've got some backups.
So we got some.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, that's okay. Let's come back to it. Let's tell them what it is then, Angel.
Okay. The other guess was Hell House LLC.
Not Hell. Oh, that would be amazing if they improv that
Oh my
entire movie.
God. Yeah. All right. So
I love that movie, for the record.
yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
Going through, JR said, going through my vault in my head. Y'all are like,
that could be the problem. All right. Well, you're all going to kick yourself. Okay. The answer to this question is Creep.
Creep was improvised from beginning to end.
Which now, if you didn't know that, doesn't that completely change your rating and your view of this movie? In my opinion, it does. It makes it all the more impressive. No,
it actually made me hate it more, because it made me feel it made me feel like I already didn't like it. And I was like, okay, like I already didn't like it. And then I did a short review on it forever ago. And I learned that about it then. And I was like, so they didn't even try. They didn't put in any effort. I just looked at it in a completely different way. Yeah.
So we should probably
FML. So it's the movie we're talking about.
Creep. It's Creep. Improvise that entire movie. So this movie features, essentially, it's Mark Duplass is who you see on camera for the entire movie. Yeah. And so this other guy, he answers what is it, like a Craigslist ad or something like that. And somebody wants someone else. He wants to pay someone to come and film a documentary about his life as, does he identify himself as a serial killer or something like that? No, something like that.
I thought he was saying he was dying, right? So he's dying and he just needs like notes for his family, right? Is that what you're talking about? Like the part where
I forget how it's originally set up, but and so this guy, I think, doesn't 100% know if it's legit or whatnot, but wants the money, so ends up agreeing to basically bring his camera and film this guy, and yeah, so going from there, Mark Duplass is just this. It's just this whole movie of him, like hinting that he's, a bad dude, and the other guy keeps filming him because he's not sure if it's real. He doesn't know how to get out of the situation. He feels bad for this guy, but it's really like unsettling. You're trapped with Mark Duplass in this house, and he's just like a total weirdo, right? Like, what are some of the things, Angel, that he does? Like
his like weird storytelling. My friend Scott covered this on the You Run podcast. I think he's a fan of this one, and he kept calling it tubby time. Like when he gets in the bathtub and he's like recording him in the bathtub. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh.
And like, he puts on like that the wolf. He keeps coming out in the wolf mask.
Hughes knows his name. Is there who else knows the name of the wolf character? He has a name. It's like something with the word fuzz in it.
He like randomly appears with this giant wolf mask on and acting really bizarre. He's just like totally out of his gourd. But it's you can't. The whole movie.
Peach fuzz. Thank you.
Peach fuzz. So even the whole movie, you're trying to discern, like, is this for real? Is he putting him on? Is it a joke? And you can't really tell. I think that's intentional, right? Yeah. Well, you can't really tell until the end, like if he's as nuts as he is claiming to be. And I see, it's interesting. So that is. The dilemma is, why is the guy still filming? But I think that what's brilliant about it is the guy filming him is probably going through a lot of the same thought processes as we, the viewer, the people who are watching at home. Like, well, why is he still filming this entire time? This completely weird guy. Anybody else would have left. But just like we're not sure, like if it's a joke, is he trying to be funny? Like the other guy, I think is going through that same thought process. And we sort of like feel bad for him. That other guy feels bad for him at different moments and just can't ever get away.
Well, he has the stories about like his kid or his kids. And there's like, Rick says, I would have been left. JR says he makes sure to make the person feel as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah.
Gonna get JR that mask for Christmas. I would have killed him during the first bath scene, like camera tossed in the water. Yeah, that was, I think,
Yeah.
If there was a moment that made me genuinely uncomfortable, it was probably that one. But I think that was when I was like, why are we still here? Like, what is happening right now? Because the tubby time was like next level odd. Like, it wasn't just somebody
I
with
mean,
quirks. Like, this was
is it
different.
more odd though than so many of the found footage movies we watch where we're always screaming, why aren't they throwing that camera? Like there's a a giant monster chasing them and they're
Yeah.
still running backwards, filming the creature screaming. Like why?
Yeah.
Like this to me is much more believable that he would keep filming him because he's just a guy, he's
So,
just a guy in a house with another guy. Like it's not,
well,
this isn't
yeah,
a troll. This isn't a giant troll. This isn't, like
it's a
in the movie,
human being.
right? In the
Yeah.
movie Dash Cam, I thought it was completely unbelievable that she was still holding the camera um, for so much of that. But there's so many movies like that where
Yeah.
they have to create reasons why. Oh, there's a camera built into the wall that keeps
Yeah.
filming. There's, you know, and then there are plenty of examples where they're just filming and we don't know why.
That
And this,
happens a lot. We complain about that a lot because
yeah,
sometimes you can dismiss it if there's other things that like make it a better experience overall, but then sometimes you can't ignore it and it ruins the setup because you're just like,
yeah,
that's totally unbelievable at this point, and that kind of takes you out of it, I guess.
yeah,
I don't know. Like, okay, so here's the scene that and again, I've only seen this movie once, and it was many years ago now. The scene where he's talking about coming in the window, right?
yep,
When
yep.
there's someone, okay. Is he talking about his sister or someone else?
I don't
Because
remember.
I feel like it was an incestuous,
No, no, I didn't get
like
that.
it got weird, and I thought he was talking about his sister. Maybe I thought that because that's who calls, right?
Yeah, I never picked up on that. But
He was like talking about coming in and being the wolf, and it got like they got like I thought there was like talk about like an intimacy scene, and I thought like, am I crazy?
I don't know. I'm not sure if it exactly was going in that direction. But
That's all, and I think that part I was like, what is this? Like that was another thing
no,
that
I think, but I think it's they basically said to him, "Be as weird, make us all uncomfortable. Be as
so he
weird
just starts saying stuff.
as you can." But like again, this guy's getting paid to keep filming him, right? So there's his reason for continuing to do it. It's not like he just thinks he's kind of you know, a weird guy, so he keeps filming him. Like
Oh yeah, I would say so.
yeah. So, but in the end, he's not just a weird guy. He's a serial killer,
Yeah,
right?
because when they first go in the house, he
Yeah,
sees the axe, and the first thing he says is, "Do you think I'm going to kill you with that?" or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He actually is a serial killer. We find
And he
out, and
actually is.
yeah, and
And doesn't he actually end up killing him with the
he does.
axe?
Like
Yeah.
the very last like shot or one of
I
the last
will
shots.
say the ending, the last, I don't know, few minutes of the
Yeah,
film
yeah.
are definitely some of the strongest because
Oh yeah,
I actually genuinely liked that scene where he's thinking he's like, he's safe, he's made it, he's sitting, in this like peaceful situation. And then it's like, it's not peaceful. And then he just like,
yeah,
right
yeah,
behind
yeah.
him.
That's it. That whole ending is
That was good. And I love unhappy endings. I love that. But there
well.
was
Then every single found footage movie has an unhappy ending.
most
So
of them. Yeah, that's true.
almost all. Yeah,
Because I think we say something, and like when we get the ones that are happy endings, we kind of were like,
yeah.
that's not found footage.
But
Yeah,
it's a characteristic of found footage movies that
you're right.
there is an unrealistic reason for them to still be filming. So I don't feel like the setup in this is any more unrealistic than all the other movies we talk about.
I mean, not in
Or is it?
concept. In execution, it failed for me. I just didn't buy
Oh,
it.
that's too bad.
Ron says, I knew that answer. My chat box minimized and I had to switch over.
Oh no,
That's okay.
Ron.
We're not done. You're okay.
Well, Angel, would this be a good time to ask maybe your backup question that you had that you weren't sure if you were gonna? It's kind of a tricky one.
Okay, I do have a backup question, and you know what? I assume people may. Any idea how to make it bigger? I don't on an iPad. I don't know. I don't on my son's tablet. If you hit the live chat, it pops up beside the video. Try that. I don't know if that helps. Yeah, I do have a backup question. It is tricky though. Like it's a little misleading, but I promise it is related to found footage. So my backup question, we want to do this for Odia schools.
Yeah, let's do it.
So my backup question, and the first person that gets it right in the chat will get a signed copy of Odia schools from Tom. And my backup question is, what found footage movie was A Quiet Place originally planned to be a sequel to?
And yes, we know A Quiet Place is not a found footage film.
Right. No, it's not. But it was possibly going to be a sequel to a found footage movie. Any guesses on what it could have been a sequel to that is a found footage movie? Hey, what's up, Lexi? Thank you on the congrats. Thanks for stopping by. Always nice to see you. Lexi does work with Horror Fiend TV, and she's actually going to be on my franchise live with the guys talking Nightmare on Elm Street. That's coming up. Oh my God, next Saturday. I still have 4 movies to watch next Saturday. Okay, so any ideas? Nobody knows this one. This one's hard.
This is hard. I mean, I did not know this one.
I'll give you a hint. It is a found footage movie about aliens. So any guesses on what A Quiet Place could have originally been pitched as a sequel to that is a found footage film?
Nobody knows.
Rick said, missed the question. What? Rick, what found footage movie was A Quiet Place originally planned to be a sequel to? Lexi, Cloverfield.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yay.
Yes, Cloverfield, right, was, well, A Quiet Place was supposed to be the sequel to Cloverfield.
And then it ended up being so totally different. In a lot of ways. Obviously, it's not found footage. Also, there's another one called I know Lexi shows up and she's like, oh, I know this one.
Lexi, get Lexi's give your contact information to Angel. Yep.
Yeah. And we'll get it sent to you, hon. I'm trying to make this other one show up. Where did it go? Oh, there it goes. Paul Brooks. Oh, hi. Thank you. We were pumped.
Hey, Paul Brooks.
Yeah. Didn't know that. Good stuff. Isn't that crazy? I didn't know that either. And then I had reached out to Scott for help on coming up with some questions because I'm not really good at that. And it was like he had like all these questions, and that one was, I thought, one of the most interesting ones because I didn't know. You literally hey, you know what? Guessing is winning, baby. Don't even it doesn't matter.
And if you didn't get that one, there's going to be at least one more opportunity to win a copy of that book tonight, as well as Angel's going to be giving away some Found Footage Friday merch very soon, right, Angel?
Yeah.
Yep.
Very soon. But yeah, so
those are pretty much our thoughts. Did you want to add anything about Creep and why it's the worst movie of all time?
It's not the worst movie of all time. But no, I just
that would be Hereditary, actually. Right?
That was our first bonding moment. Was Hereditary.
Sorry to everybody in the chat who's going to leave this.
Now that we've talked
this episode, yeah.
No, I just, I will say this. It has been a long time, and I think I don't know if I talked about this with you or if it was with someone else I was talking about it with, but I will say, like, sometimes when you go see a movie or you watch it at home or whatever the experience is, and Ron knows about this because Ron talked about this with his experience with the Blair Witch Project on his podcast with Michael, called the Postmortem Report. And it was like, I do think the first time I watched this, I think the person I was watching it with was very overly negative about it. And it's very possible that when I watch this in a new, like by myself with, whatever, maybe I will feel differently.
Are you talking about Creep?
I'm talking about Creep. Fair point. I did rewatch Hereditary, and I did like it more the second time I watched Tom's like, okay, I'm out.
But we're not going to talk about that movie tonight.
No,
Not
because it's
found
not
footage.
found footage.
Definitely not found footage.
Ron says, I'm back up and running. Great. It's not found footage Fridays without Ron.
Ron.
Yeah.
So that's Creep. I really think you should go watch it. I think Mark Duplass is like, it's a tour de force in that movie. I think, at least. I think the movie's brilliant. I think it's more brilliant that there was literally no script and they still came out with that. Yeah, I'm really a huge fan of that film. So it's up there. It's up there in my top. And I know you don't feel the same, but it's okay. We don't have to agree on everything.
Well, and what's true, anybody who's watched more than 1 or 2 episodes will know this. We don't look for the same things in found footage a lot of the times. We have some things that we both like, but for the most part, we have different boxes to check.
Right. And we'll save that question for later on. But,
it's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
We talk about it so much. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe in a rewatch, my opinions will have changed. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Michael. I love what you and Ron do over on your channel. It's really great stuff. It's a lot of very like supportive and like uplifting stuff about other channels and other writers, and it's very great. Love what you guys do. Yeah. So yeah, that's Creep. I don't know.
I think it's time for you to give away some Found Footage Friday merch.
Okay. So I launched a merch store, I don't know, it's been a few weeks ago now, and I had to do found footage gear, right? Because and we were supposed to have it in time, but I had to fix one of the logo designs, so it got shipped late. So hopefully by next week, when we do our next episode, we will be decked out in found footage gear. But so I'm just going to flash up some stuff. So this is some items that we have with the Found Footage Fridays logo. It's got the tapes with one of my favorites, Monster Project, one of Tom's favorites, Hell House, and the Blair Witch, which is one that kind of started it all for both of us. So my question, you can win. It's basically how I'm going to do it is whoever gets this right will get up to, $35 to spend in the merch thing. So if you want to get a t-shirt and a magnet, you can, whatever it is, up to $35. And all of those items are under that price point. Just, FYI. So I'll show it one more time. These are the items. And I don't remember what my question is. So I'm going to go over to, okay, this is an easy one. You guys, this is so easy. Okay. What found footage horror movie follows the adventures of Sean Ruddy? First person to get it right in the comments gets.
Someone's going to know this. Someone's going to know this.
Yeah, somebody's got it. Ron said, Creep. Creep is my favorite. Yeah.
There you go, Ron.
You'll find me dead and buried before I say something like that. I really will be honest. If I rewatch it, though, and I like it, I will be honest that I liked it different. I have no problem admitting a change of opinion. Okay, so, yeah. Deadstream. Absolutely. Yay.
Congratulations, Rob.
Yeah. You know where to find me. My links for my merch stuff is actually, I forgot I did this because I'm super on point today. The link for the found footage stuff, merch is in the link for this episode. If you go to that, you can just DM me the stuff that you'd like and I'll get it sent out to you soon. No, Poor in the High Desert what was that guy's name?
Ash. No,
that's Holes in the Sky.
That's Holes in the Sky is Ash Hamilton. Or in the High Desert is Dutch.
Well, that's the guy that made it. Who's it about though? I can't remember what the guy's name is. The little adventurer guy. I can't.
Yeah, I forget the character's name, but yeah, that's a great one too. We love that one.
Yeah. No, we're big fans of that one. All right, so I guess we'll jump into our Gary. Thank you. There's a recent
Gary Hinge. That's it. Yeah. Gary Hinge. She's Rob wants to win all the get all the answers.
Today. Yeah. It's such a fun flick. We reviewed Deadstream.
We did Deadstream. That's a lot of fun. If you like Deadstream, you might like this book.
Agreed.
If you didn't guess based on the picture.
Yeah. I can agree with that. That has a little more Your book has a little more oomph in it than Deadstream, but I wasn't as big a fan.
Written before Deadstream came out, but still.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so want to jump into our next film?
Let's do it.
All right, so the next movie I'm actually really happy about.
It's amazing we haven't covered it on the show.
We've kind of avoided them on purpose, though. We were trying to kind of shed some light on newer ones.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. I'm just pulling up a short description.
It's just interesting. Like, there's so many people that I think aren't even necessarily found footage fans that love this movie. Yeah.
That's true. And I will say, my first watch of this was only a couple years ago when I started doing my influential horror series. It was on someone's list for influential horror, and I had never heard of it, so I watched it, to prepare for the conversation. And I immediately fell in love with it. It immediately became a favorite of mine.
I think that's what I mean. Yeah, like there are people who are just horror fans or
just really love it
and love this movie. Yeah.
So our second movie for tonight is Lake Mungo. Yeah. This is a really short synopsis, but short and sweet and to the point. Strange things start happening after a girl is found drowned in a lake. That's it.
That's it.
Sometimes they tell you the entire plot, and then sometimes they tell you nothing about it. So this is essentially a mockumentary style film.
Definitely
that is
done
like a documentary.
Australian.
Yep. And it follows the family of this young woman who died in a lake near where they live. And after she dies, weird things start to happen, and then there's a lot of layers to the story that slowly come unraveled as you watch the film.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the heavier found footage films. I would say the only comparison I would say is from this movie to Creep, and you're probably wondering where I'm going with this.
I am.
Is the acting, I think, is phenomenal in both of these movies in a completely different way. The parents in particular in this movie, their interviews, like they're on camera, sort of, it's just, I just think they're so believable. They're just great actors that feel like real people. So
yeah, I mean it's grief horror.
It certainly is.
And you get to a point where, you start watching, and this was one, and not all movies that I love do this, but this is one example of when you start to watch it, you're pulled in pretty immediately. Like I was invested in this family and their story from the very beginning of this film. And you literally feel like you are mourning with them. Like that's how I felt. Like it was. And see, for me, like one of the other films we've discussed that this kind of makes me think of as far as how it affected my emotions is Savage Land.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Just with the level of loss and grief. And obviously it's a different type of loss in that one, but that's what I think one of the reasons I like that one so much was because it reminded me a lot of Lake Mungo. And it's also a mockumentary, so that's probably part of it too. But yeah. It was just this one is heavy. I mean, I felt the things this movie made me feel long after I turned it off. Like it was just.
I feel like it's longer for found footage, isn't it?
Yes.
I feel like it is. And that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a longer found footage movie.
It's an hour and a half.
That's it?
It feels longer, doesn't it? I was thinking it was closer to 2 hours. It's an hour 29.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the only negatives that I would point to at this movie is that I feel like it's slow.
And that's
maybe that's why I thought it was a lot longer than it is. It's sort of sort of hangs and drags in certain places. And in some ways that like really works. Like some things that are excellent in this movie are these just really slow, long zoom ins on little things in the background. They just sort of sit there and let you watch the blurry face in the background. But yeah, I
Yeah.
This is an excellent film. So what did you rate it?
Yeah. So I mean, this is one that I really, really love. I had a feeling there was a really good chance this one would at least end up on the next set of brackets when we did the polls originally.
Hmm.
And I'm really glad that it won. I really like this movie. I was unsettled by it. It's one of those movies, kind of piggybacking off what you said. It's one of those films that you're always looking to see what you're supposed to be looking at, and that
Oh yeah,
creates this very overwhelming sense of atmosphere where you're like waiting on that moment of like to settle in,
yeah,
so yeah, so I really like this one, so this is an 8 for me. 8 out of 10 takes.
yeah, yeah. This movie is it's just it's a great film. Like it's the acting is fantastic. It's a really good story.
Yep.
It's really really unsettling. Like Angel said, you are always looking over the shoulders of of in every scene. You're waiting to see if there's something there that you're supposed to see, and so
Yeah.
you never quite can take a breath and relax in this movie. Um,
Mm-mm.
as I said, I felt like there are a couple of moments that do drag a little bit,
Yeah.
and it's a slower feel to this movie.
Yeah.
That's the only negative I really could point to. But for that reason, I also give it an 8. 8 tapes. So we both agree 8 tapes out of 10 for this one. So that's pretty high rating for us.
Yeah.
Cumulative.
Well, we
Yeah,
both like the mockumentary style films. We
we do.
typically
Yeah,
rate those higher in general.
yeah,
um Yeah, and I think I will say the other thing is, like, I always say that, like, when it comes to, like, serious horror movies, like, if I don't care about the characters, if I'm not invested in them, it's a lot harder for me to care about anything else in the film.
yeah,
And this is one where I was really surprised at how quickly it made me want to care about this family and what they were going through.
yeah,
And I mean, I watched it my first watch, I already had, my kids. So like maybe there's probably some of that played into it when you're watching, oh my God, the parents, like anyway, so it
yeah.
it just, yeah, I mean, it checked a lot of boxes for me. It's got some other things which we'll dive more into when we get, into spoilers. But yeah, I really like it. I highly recommend it for found footage people, even like you said, non-found footage
Yeah.
people. It's just a really, really well done film.
But it's a heartbreaking film. Like
It is very
it's hard
heartbreaking.
to watch this, and
Yeah,
to yeah, to see the parents there and to go through every moment of this with them is really difficult. So
it is.
I wouldn't say we use those sort of words to describe almost any of the found footage movies we've seen, except maybe Savage Land.
Mhm.
There aren't a lot that I would describe as heartbreaking found footage films, uh, but certainly this movie would fall into that category.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a couple comments real quick.
Sure.
Good evening. Hi.
Hello.
Ron, are you clapping for Lake Mungo?
He's just clapping
Or
for us.
he's just excited. Creep 1 and 2 are ominous. I haven't seen it. Maybe I'll watch the second one after I revisit the first.
I agree. The second one is great too.
Oh, and here's Love. Loved Savage Land. Savage Land was good. Good. What would you give it, Rick? What would you give Savage Land? Savage Land, yes. Love that one. That one's so good. It's wild. Both Lake Mungo and Savage Land have little to no visuals, and yet they are both incredibly scary. And we
Good
talked
point,
about
Rob.
that, I think, in our episode about it, because it was just like, Howard's Mill was great as well.
Oh, I don't know that one.
I don't know that one.
Howard's Mill.
We'll have to go back and look at that one.
We're always asking for new recs in the comments. So
Yeah.
thanks,
Do you know
Rob.
if that one's streaming, or if you want to give us like a synopsis on what it's about? Documentary style found footage films are great. JR from Horror Fiend is how we ended up watching Open Water 3 Cage Dive. He's the one that introduced that one to me. I didn't even know. I stayed away from Open Water because I hated the first one. So I just stayed away from it. But yeah, no, I really like Lake Mungo. I think Lake Mungo is just really, really, it's just really well done.
So we should spoil this now?
Yeah. We can. Or do you want to do your next question?
Yeah, I'll do my next one. Why don't we do that? So my next question, for the first person out there who can name and this is going to be tricky. This is going to require you to have seen perhaps some of our other episodes here on Found Footage Friday. So we have coined the term the subgenres of found footage, and we've named a number of them.
Yes.
And there are a number of them that I would say that Angel and I in particular are huge fans of, and they're not necessarily the same. Some Angel's a real huge fan of, and some I'm a huge fan of. So if anyone out there can name any of the subgenres of found footage that Angel or I are a fan of, you will win a copy of Odie's Schools, a found footage inspired horror novel by me.
Yeah, I have a closer picture. There we go.
There it is. That's probably a lot better. Yeah.
I was trying not to cover you like showing it though, so I was trying to be like.
Yeah. So,
Screen Life.
No. Good guess, Paul. One of them I didn't want to say earlier because we classify.
Angel Loves Creature found footage.
I don't know if we've used that.
Have we?
I don't think so.
Maybe not the word creature, but that's definitely probably really close to one. Because we talk about it all the time because there's, found footage we've talked about this, is a style. It's not technically a subgenre, right? Because it's a film style, but within that film style, there are all these other subgenres of found footage films that in the non-found footage world are also just subgenres of horror. Does that help?
Should we give an example of one that we're not like a huge fan of or something like that? Would that be helpful?
And then they have to name one that we like. Which one are we not a fan of? I don't even know.
I like them all.
I like them all too. Subgenre.
Of found
footage films. We talk about this all the time. Ron, we talk about this in like every episode. No pressure.
Okay, I'm going to say one that we like because there's so many of them. I'm just going to say.
Okay.
Well, I'll say one that.
Or here, how about this? So, JR, Monster Project is Angel's favorite. Okay, but
what
type of subgenre is Monster Project other than found footage? I do love that movie. That's one of my favorites. I was actually I think I'm gonna reach out to Carl and see if here we go. What is Screen Life? I thought that was a movie title. What is that? I don't even know what Screen Life is. Mockumentary is one, though. We want to get somebody else to answer since Rob's already won.
Yeah.
What kind of movie I would consider that monster. Yeah.
Yes.
Monster found footage.
Monster found footage would be one.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, folklore is another one actually too. We talked about that one more recently. What's like your favorite subgenre?
Me?
Your favorite?
Like we've talked about like haunted location found footage, like haunted house, haunted asylum, haunted whatever. So that's like a taste of what we're talking about. It's not as complicated as it seems.
Yeah. I think like Monster is one.
Yeah,
I think I have JR's information.
Okay, so JR wins the other copy. So some of the other examples, okay? Possession found footage, alien found footage, Bigfoot found. What was that?
People. That's what we always laugh about.
We classify Creep is people found footage.
People found footage.
There's a few. There was another one really recently that reminded us of Creep, and I cannot think of what that's called. The
brother one.
Yeah, the two brothers.
The Andy Baker tapes.
The Andy Baker tapes. People found footage, right? The horror of people. Let's see. What are some others? We discovered dinosaur found footage recently.
You're welcome. If anybody had guessed dinosaur, I would have been like so excited. Like, you absolutely watch this show because dinosaur found footage is one of my new favorite things.
Yeah. So, but monster found footage.
Oh, Screen Life. We call this like what do we call this,
Okay.
Tom?
Yes, we just don't label it as Screen Life. That would be right, Paul. So like we call it what do we call that?
We call it influencer and social media. We usually lump them together because
Yeah,
we didn't cover Unfriended yet, but we covered no, we haven't covered Host.
we haven't done host.
Covered what's the one that's like that? Unfollowed or followed?
Unfollow. Yeah, both. I think we did, right?
Oh, actually, JR said body horror, aka afflicted. See, we didn't consider afflicted body horror.
Vampire horror.
It's just vampire.
Travel horror.
That was the point, though, was to see, like, you have to watch the show to know the answers. So, since Screen Life is technically one of the ones, do we want to throw in? I'll throw in something.
Yeah, we're gonna send something to Paul too. So, yeah. Paul, send your info to Angel. You got that was right. Now we have the term for it. We were defining it before, but didn't have the phrasing. Screen Light. Yeah. So
learn something new all the time.
So, what are some others that we? So like
That's
followed.
Religion,
dash cam.
Oh, we're talking about with that one specifically.
Yeah,
dash cam, unfollowed, Deadstream.
Deadstream. So there are sometimes I think a lot of these movies talk about are like fit into multiple categories, and I would say Deadstream is definitely one. Yeah. Deadstream is a few different things.
Sacrament went into like 3 categories.
Well, that was like religion,
people,
definitely, yeah. Mm-hmm. Not quite possession.
I have to show this because it's going to make Tom's eyeballs roll into the back of his head. Dinosaur Project was
great. Rob. Go home, Rob. You're drunk.
Tom, after we watched that, after we did the movie, like the review, I was like, Tom is never going to let me. And then we found another dinosaur found footage, not project, but dinosaur found footage movie. And I was like, oh, of course, I don't think I knew at the time it was dinosaurs.
I mean, talk about like reasons why you shouldn't still be holding the camera. The dinosaur is chasing after you and you're still running backwards filming it. Like,
oh God, that one was so fun. Oh, I swear, there's a sequel to that we've discussed for Dinosaur Project. I haven't seen the sequel, but there is a sequel.
We won't be covering that.
Tom is putting his foot down. He's like, I'm not watching that. What you got? Tell me what it is, JR. I probably haven't seen it if it's one. Yeah, and then the other one, the other one you do is In the Woods.
Oh yeah, running through.
That's like a specific
running through the woods found footage. Yeah, that's how it all began. Yeah, well, it really ended up on the map with the Blair Witch Project. Yes. Oh, cult found footage. We've talked about that.
Cult, and that's one of the ones Sacrament falls in.
Sacrament cult. Yeah, but yes, so much found footage is just running and screaming through the woods. So that definitely is its own sub genre, whatever you want to call that.
The Triangle. That's found footage, or is that just a film? I didn't know that was found footage. Is that just a regular film?
I think there are 2 movies called The Triangle, and one of them is found footage.
One of them has like The Triangle was great. One of my faves. Found footage, cult, paranormal. That's
we've talked about cults. We've talked about them paranormal.
It is found footage. Okay. Yeah, we do like some of the ones we've liked have fallen into most like a couple of different things. Cool. So, all right. So Lexi gets a copy of OD Schools. Rob gets the first giveaway for the merch up to $35 from the store, shop, whatever you want to call it, merch thing. We'll send Paul some stuff, some found footage stuff, and JR got the second copy of OD Schools.
Yeah. Right? Hope you're remembering all of this, Angel.
I am. It's in the comments. We'll get it.
Okay. All right.
All right. So back to, I guess we'll do our spoilers now for Lake Mungo.
And we still have more, at least one more prize to give.
At least one more. Yes. We'll do one more merch giveaway.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to Lake Mungo. Right?
Yes.
That's the wrong one. Hold on. There we go. Ah.
Yeah. Geez, those are your creep scores. Those are your creep scores. Yeah.
I'm learning. I just wanted to revisit. No, just kidding. Anyway. So yeah. So Lake Mungo. The scariest cat. Hi.
Hello, the scariest cat. At first, I thought it said the scariest cat.
I mean, so the guys at Scariest Cut are, I think, in the middle of taking a break. They're going to come back in August, but they do a lot of like really cool. They do the Scariest Cut of certain films, and then they also do bigger reviews and stuff. I had tweeted about this because next Saturday I'm doing a Nightmare on Elm Street live, which I committed to, assuming that the movies were going to be streaming. They are not. So I put a Twitter out there and I was like, hey, if anybody trusts me, I promise to be super careful. I'll send you a mailing label. I need to find these movies. And they came through, got them to me the next day. I'm on 5 now. A lot of love for Scariest Cut because they came through in a bitch. I was like, I just knew nobody was going to trust me with their physicals, but they came through. Haha, my cats aren't that scary. Mine aren't scary either. Mine are just lazy.
Mine is usually not scary.
Usually not.
Yeah.
One is cult found footage and the other one is the cruise ship. I think the cruise ship is the one I always see with the triangle.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking of as not being found footage. Yeah.
That's the one I think I always see show up.
It's available everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't really get into Lake Mungo and really what's going on.
So that's what we'll do now. We'll finally jump into some spoilers. So one thing that I love spoiling about that I think is so good about this is the misdirection that this film does. You get stage 1
more than once.
It does it multiple times. Yeah. And it starts out as like this very as far as we're concerned at this level, it's a paranormal film. It's a ghost. The daughter is still haunting them. We don't really know what's going on. We're unraveling all the secrets to everything. And then we get this twist where the brother has faked the footage.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you feel the first time that happened? I was like, wait, what?
I felt like sort of like it was a cop out. Like I thought we were going in that direction, and that they play with you a little bit there. That's intentional. It's sort of how I felt like at the end of the movie The Village, when M. Night Shyamalan's The Village, and I know what you're going to disagree with me on this one too, but like I was really upset that it wasn't real. It was all fake. It was all in the snow globe, and it was never real. It was all a dream. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Really bothers me, but that is not what ended up happening with Lake Mungo. That's what they want you to think at first, that it was the brother, and he was setting up a lot of these shots, and really, I forget the reason why it made his family happy to believe that his sister was still sort of out there.
He had a very good-natured intention, but it was still deception.
Absolutely.
And the family is like, when they realize what is happening and they catch him and all these things come to light, their reaction to that is heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really hard because you've already gone through so much of their grieving experience, the discovery of what happened to their daughter. Like you've been there all along with them. And then they have to sort of process and re-grieve the fact that she wasn't alive, or she wasn't out there still, and their son had done all this and really tricked them.
And I can't remember because I've only watched it that one time. I've seen it twice. The stuff with the neighbors was like really weird too.
Yeah, that was weird.
There was like the neighbor comes into their house and you're watching it as a viewer and we don't know. You're like, what is that? Like, who is that?
Yeah. There's a backstory with there's information they find out about their daughter and the neighbors. It's just more, salt in the wound for them.
Because they were worried. The neighbors got worried that they'd find the pictures or the tapes or something of their like little thing going on and like whatever, and then so they I think the guy like gets into their house and like is trying to find it, but because they've got the cameras up all over the house, he gets caught on camera and ends up being this.
So they thought it was a ghost, but it was actually just him, and they find out more upsetting stuff about their daughter. So that was really hard. And then there's like a lot of these movies, there is a psychic that's brought in, and or I
nine.
think, or was he a psychic, a therapist, both, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, but with a lot of these sorts of things, there's a grain of truth to this, and you find out, maybe it's not all fantasy. Right.
Right. Yeah. Right at the end, right, is when they
Yeah.
do the kind of like
So,
our second reveal, which is that her ghost is there in
so
the backyard. Is that the
well,
first one?
no, it's like she's like standing there. It's not in the backyard. It's like
That's in the
yeah,
credits.
yeah.
That's right.
So she there's this whole backstory where they find footage of her on her old phone
Her phone.
going to some sort of camp, and she ends up it basically explain that she sees her own ghost or something like
She
that.
sees her own
How do you
dead.
interpret that? What happens there? Yeah.
So, because we've gotten the glimpses of the phone as there's a couple different times where we see the clips, but we don't get the whole thing because it's damaged because
Right.
they found it at the beach, right? They're on water somewhere. And I think that it's so we see it, she kind of goes off from the group.
Hmm.
And she's by herself and she sees someone or something out in the distance, right? And as she gets up closer, the face that's revealed is a waterlogged version of herself, which is essentially a premonition of her death.
Yeah.
Which is what happens. She drowns in the lake.
Right.
No
So
one did anything to her, but it was essentially something bad happened and she was warned about it ahead of time and she filmed it on her phone.
right now, there's no explanation there. This isn't like Star Wars explaining to us all what the Force really is. There's
Yeah.
nothing. You just sort of, okay, so we don't know why she gets this premonition or why it even comes to be, but
Right.
she did, or at least that's how they interpret it.
Yeah.
Whether or not there was something else in the footage that just got waterlogged, or ruined somehow, or damaged,
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little open to interpretation there.
I'm inclined to agree. Because one of
Right.
the things I thought was, I was like, well, maybe that she saw the premonition because there was just something special about her, which is also why she's able to come back to her family.
Yeah.
But I
Yep.
think you're right. I think it's open. It's definitely open to interpretation for sure.
But this movie is always going to be up there, I think, in almost every legit like top 10 list of found footage films. Maybe not my own, but many, you would find this. If you're
Yeah, this
out there
is a
just
favorite.
searching, it's a favorite. People talk about it. It's it's probably one of the most widely known of the found footage films. One of
Yeah.
a couple of Australian films that we've covered, right? At least two.
We've covered one other one, I think.
No, we did The Tunnel, definitely.
Oh, that's Australian. That's right. So this is, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. At least two.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is
Our
Lake
thoughts
Mungo.
on Lake Mungo. We finally did Lake Mungo.
Finally did it. All right. We got to give away some more stuff before people
All right.
go home for
So
the night.
if you are a found footage fan, you should know this one.
Sure.
Hopefully you do. So for this one, we're gonna do the same thing I did before with merch, up to $35. I'll flash that up again really quick.
There it is.
And all its found footage glory. I'm so proud of that design, by the way.
Looks great.
Yeah, I was like, I wanted to put tapes on it. And I was like, it needs to be some of both of us,
Can't wait for my shirt.
I know it'll be here tomorrow. So mad about that. Yeah. So my question is, and then I went right out of it. Okay. My question is, what found footage movie is this quote from? Okay, here's your motivation. You're lost, you're angry in the woods, and no one is here to help you. What found footage movie is this quote from? Okay, here's your motivation. You're lost, you're angry in the woods, and no one is here to help you. First person to get it right gets the merch. let wheels turn first.
Did everyone go to bed?
No, we're still doing pretty good. It's not that late. We only ran over by like a couple minutes. Doing good. Can always tell how like passionate we are about the movies we talk about based on if they are over 30 minutes or not.
This is one everybody should get.
Yes. Honestly, you could probably guess it. Ah, the scariest cat said. Too easy. Okay.
What is it? The scariest cat?
I did try to pick one that would be more identifiable. There's tons of quotes in this one, but I was trying to find one that was more like specific to this movie. I can even see the scene in my head.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Blair Witch Project.
There it is. And we often say, like, when we rate our top found footage films, we often will say, other than the Blair Witch Project, because
it's on its own thing.
It's its own thing, and nothing ever will duplicate what that movie did. You'll never be able to market found footage in the same way. That movie is, even though, for being technical, it's not the earliest found footage.
No, correct. No, it's not.
But I feel like it's by far, not even close, the most influential. Anybody who's making found footage movies nowadays, they're making it because of the Blair Witch Project. They're not making it because of the McPherson tape or like, what was that? The one from England. What was that called?
The one with two names.
Yeah, whatever it was, I forget. Ghost, whatever.
Oh, which one?
The really early found footage movie from like the 90s.
Oh my God, what is it called? Ghost Watch.
I was close.
I was reading the comments because right after Scariest Cut said Blair Witch, Ron said Blair Witch. And then Scariest Cut said paying it forward to Ron. So he's going to let Ron get the merch.
That's very nice.
Ron needs found footage gear anyway.
Ron needs like a found footage tattoo right on his neck. Right here. Triple F.
In green and I guess black. It'd say gray like Static, but I
was really sad that I didn't go to StokerCon, so I could have met Ron,
Ron,
this year.
Well, Ron lives in Canada, I think. Am I right, Ron? Yep. I think that's right. I'm still weighing my about AuthorCon.
There's 2 AuthorCons now.
I know. The first one and then the second one at the end of the year in October.
Yeah. We'll meet up with Ron in person one of these days.
One day. Yeah. I would love to go to the next AuthorCon, but it's really far for me.
Well, any final thoughts on either Creep, Lake Mungo, or our 50th episode?
I am going to make a commitment to revisit Creep soon and see if my opinions on it have changed, because I just remember being so angry. Yeah, I think there is a bit of a lag. Maybe there is, Rob.
Yeah.
Ghost Watch was the movie we were talking about, because he said he thinks he's behind because 3 people answered, but he didn't hear the question. So it might be, maybe there's like a lag. But yeah, I think that I want to revisit it. Movies.
And you should watch the second too. I think you should. You might like it. You might not.
Let's see how I do on a revisit of Creep before I commit to the second one. But I will commit to revisiting the other one. Congratulations on hitting 50. Thank you, Ron. It's been weird. I can't believe we've already done this many episodes. We do that. I mean, we haven't missed a single week. There has been an episode every week.
And what's crazy is I feel like when we first started, I was like, oh, there aren't going to be that many. It's unending, the number of found footage films. We haven't even like grazed the surface.
And then now there's like this new surge where there's like a bunch of newer ones coming out.
Yep.
One in which we were just talking about, we need to watch our links to.
That's right. I think there's somebody maybe who is even watching tonight. yeah, we're going to be watching a new found footage movie very soon and talking about it on this very show. So
yes. Yeah.
I'm not going to say what it is yet.
No information yet. We'll wait.
Coming soon. Stay tuned.
Yeah, that's right. Cool. Well, that's our 50th episode.
Congratulations. Us.
To ourselves.
I should have wore a party hat or something. Noisemaker. I don't know.
Oh, here you go. This is for you, Tom. Tell him whose map it is.
This actually belongs to my wife. But I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan as well.
Yes.
So yes, this graces our basement. I don't play Magic the Gathering though. I don't play Magic the Gathering. I'm sorry to say. That's
kind of cool though that they did a Lord of the Rings theme. I love Lord of the Rings.
You know,
we did like 10 episodes, and I finally one day I was like, "Is that Middle Earth behind you?" And you were like, "How have you not noticed?"
It sure is.
But your camera on your laptop, the one that you used to have, was slightly over, so I couldn't actually see Middle Earth. I could only see kind of the bits around your head. And I was like, one day I was like, wait a second, I recognize that. That's awesome. Yeah. Ron said, almost a year ago, you guys did your top picks episode that started it all.
It was just magic.
Magic. Yeah. We love
found footage magic.
That's right. Yes. So, well, I think that's pretty much it for this episode, right?
Yes. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, for all 50 episodes. I cannot wait for episode 100.
Yeah, we'll have to do something really crazy for 100.
No idea.
Yeah. Thank you guys, everybody in the chat.
We're going to give away 3 books on that day.
We have kind of mulled around a couple of ideas.
Yes. Well,
we have like a year, more or less, to figure it out.
When's the 25th anniversary for the Blair Witch Project, by the way?
Next year, 2024.
Just
no,
saying.
2025? 4. 2024, I think.
Where's Matt Blasey when we need him?
I know. If you say his name 3 times fast.
Matt Blasey.
What is I'm gonna look it up really, really quick. I think it's it's next year, 2024.
Okay.
We want to do something. We want to go to Burkittsville if we can make that happen.
That would be fun.
Good night. Thank you for coming by.
Good night, the scariest cut.
See ya.
Not cat.
I'm gonna finish your movies and send them back soon. Yeah,
well,
so cool. Well, everybody who won things, send me information and we'll get that going. We'll get some stuff out to you. If you won the merch thing, which is Rob and Ron and Pat. Paul, thank you.
Paul.
I knew it was a P name. Paul, just go. The link to the found footage stuff is in the description for this episode, and go and just pick out the stuff that you want up to like $35 and then send it to me and I'll get it sent to you. I'll get it sent out to you guys. So yeah, well, we don't know what we're talking next week, right? We haven't. Oh God, we've been so focused on this. So we'll get there. Looking forward to many more, even though you didn't mention my Eyes Above, So Below tourism. Well, you got to say the type, Ron.
I mentioned tourism found footage, Ron.
Did you? I missed it.
Yes.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it.
Bye, Rob.
Congratulations. Thanks, JR. JR is a found footage nut, too. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Everybody in the chat. This was so much fun. It was really cool getting to talk to people that watch the episodes.
Very cool. Very cool.
You know, we don't get to do this with. We have to respond in the comments instead. So this was really cool. So
we'll have to do this again in this format sometime.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. Well, that's it for Tom and I. Have a good rest of your weekend, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a good week coming up, and we'll see you in the next week.
Happy found footage.